You ever read a book and it was really good up until like the last quarter of the book and the ending just ruined the entire story? Okay, so I have just finished Eliza and Her Monsters by Francesca Zappia. I'm sorry, darling. I ordered this book because the premise looked really good after seeing everyone's Owl Crate unboxings and descriptions, and I pre-ordered it then and there, and I managed to save it for like the 2 weeks leading up to read-o-rama readathon round 7, and I took it to work with me and I started it and finished it then and there. And my god, Eliza is this girl who suffers from social and general anxiety, and she's very awkward at school. She just all of a sudden started being known as the weird girl. She doesn't have friends at school. She basically does all of her socializing online, where she has created this webcomic that is insanely wildly popular. I mean, she has millions of followers. She has merch for this thing. There are fan fiction writers and all types of just everything. Like, this is the ultimate webcomic that has the ultimate fandom and fan base. So that I really loved and I appreciate it, because as someone who does this, and I'm sure as people who are watching these kind of videos for fun and in your free time, we are all members of a fandom, I'm certain. If you're not, you haven't found the right one yet, because this is just the type of people we are to be making these videos and watching these videos. This is what we are, okay? Otherwise we wouldn't be doing such. So that really spoke to me. I haven't read Fangirl yet, so I heard it's kind of the same premise as that, but whatevs. The first like 40-50 pages or so, they dragged a little bit and it really didn't hold my interest, but I kind of kept going through it, and then I just started plowing through the book. It got really interesting. So Eliza, like I said, the author of this webcomic, doesn't talk to anybody at school. She kind of stands up for this guy, this new student that's getting bullied at school, and come to find out he is the most popular fanfic writer for her webcomics fandom. Like, basically as popular as she is for writing the thing, he's basically like next level tier for the fanfiction that he writes for. Like, he is the go-to for fanfiction for this fandom, for Monstrous Sea. She finds out who he is because he tells her, but she doesn't tell him who she is because she's just got like a lot of this social anxiety and she feels a lot of pressure, which is understandable. You do something, you have this large, huge following, you don't want people to know who you are and put a face to the name, because their opinion is already hard to swallow sometimes because they don't know you. It's even worse when they do know you and know who you are and they're saying these negative things. Eliza is kind of in a constant battle with her parents. So this is one thing that I didn't like, and I wrote stickies about it. So one of them is when Eliza's parents drag her off camping. They really don't understand this whole webzine, internet famous hobby kind of a deal. So they don't know what she's doing on the computer all the time, even though they know she's drawing. They know she started it, but they think it's just like a little hobby, and they don't really care to understand it any further, which aggravates the shit out of me. So they drag her on this camping trip, and it's one thing to not let her take her cell phone, but they wouldn't even let her have her sketchbook. And as a parent of a child that you see and know is awkward and is struggling socially, like you're always trying to get her out and whatnot, it should have occurred to you at some point that this sketchbook is her outlet. If that's all she does, it's not like she's constantly in her phone. She's drawing, and you're taking the outlet away from her and then telling her she can't have any contact, but then you proceed to treat her like she's a fucking weirdo as you're spending time with her because she doesn't like the sports that you play. Now, both of her parents and her brothers are athletic. Sports are their outlet. Why can't they see that for Eliza it's art? But instead they're just treating her like this is the weirdest shit ever. They can't fathom it, and it really pisses me the fuck off. I don't like that about her parents. At one point her mom literally said, "We don't understand the drawing." And they said it like something's wrong with it. Like, what the fuck is wrong with that, with drawing? I'm failing to understand when that turned into an unacceptable hobby. Like, most people don't want their high school age children to be like social butterflies at the point they're going to parties all the time. They're trying to, you know, push her to go to parties and be more popular, and I don't see why. Have more friends, interact with people, yes, but to the extent that they came off and they were doing it to me, I didn't really care for it. As a parent, why can you not meet your child on their level instead of just going, I really don't understand, and say, hey, explain to me about this comic you're doing. Tell me, you know, what you're drawing. Tell me this. Meet them on their level instead of constantly trying to drag her to yours if it's clear she's uncomfortable there. Like, that bugged the shit out of me. It was minor enough, though, throughout the course of the book to where I was just like, eh. But what I'm noticing in the theme in all the mental health books that I've read is a lot of the times the exception being under rose-tinted skies. But all the other times, the parents just always seem to just not understand that their child is just a little different. Like, they either cope this way or they like doing something else. Instead, they see it as just, oh, my child's weird, but I'm going to force them to do shit my way anyway. That's not how it works in the real world with adults, let alone with children. Like, you can't interact with people that way. If someone is not comfortable doing something, you trying to force them to do it all the time, it's just going to push them further away. So there was that. And then, you know, so her parents, in an effort to do something nice for her, end up actually letting everybody know the identity of her, letting everybody know that basically she's the creator of this webzine. And as expected, because she's so socially awkward, she doesn't like the attention. So, like, she doesn't even read the comments on her blog. She interacts with people, and then she has other friends of hers basically moderate the blogs and the forums and the chat rooms and all that other stuff. So once people find out, she kind of like shuts down. She freaks out. She tries to keep her boyfriend from finding out. And her boyfriend finds out. He reacts in such a shitty way. It thoroughly pissed me off. Like, his initial knee-jerk reaction was to get mad because she kept a secret. Okay, that's fine. But then later on, he's like staying away from her. She ends up like actually having a panic attack and getting pretty, you know, pretty legit hurt. He doesn't come to check on her. He doesn't ask how she's doing. No, nothing. He waits a couple weeks, and then when he comes to see her, he basically confronts her and then says, I need you to finish the comic because the fanfic or the fic that I was writing, that is basically a rewrite of your work, your graphic novel in novel form, they won't publish it until you write the ending. And she's like, really? I'm kind of traumatized by this. I can't write the ending right now, you know. I can't write the ending right now. I'm in too much pain. I'm struggling right now. And he just basically, hold on, I'm going to read it verbatim. He says, you have to finish, Eliza. He tells her, she tells him, I can't even touch a pencil right now. You've had that before, haven't you, where you can't do anything because nothing's flowing, nothing's coming out, like your head is empty? And he cuts her off and goes, you have to finish. His voice is hard. I wish I'd kept my pillow as a shield. I'm never going to get a chance like this again. If this doesn't happen, it's going to be 4 more years of doing what other people tell me to do. Maybe longer than that. I can't anymore. Please, Eliza. It's only a few chapters. Just push through and finish it. When she whispers, I can, he goes, why not? And then again, why not? There doesn't have to be anything there. Artists create when they have no motivation all the time. If I could do it for you, I would. I would kill to write something without motivation if it meant I got what I wanted later. So, when again she says she can't, he storms up off the bed. He's like yanking at his hair. He's balling his hands in a fist. His muscles are ticking. His jaw's jumping. He's looking all around. And he's just like, you have a perfect life and you can't draw a couple of chapters for me? You made this awesome thing that millions of people love and adore you for. Everyone knows what you've done. They recognize your talent. You don't have to worry about how you're going to pay for college or get a real job or figure out what you're supposed to do with your life. You don't have anyone telling you what to do or who to be. All you have is to draw a few more pages. That's it. It'll take you, what, a week or two at the most? Just draw the pages. And when she, again, tries to tell him he can't, he walks out and slams the door. And then even later on, it's the same thing. He basically... And then she takes on that guilt of him not being able to do what he wants to do and basically feeling like she is ruining his life, his future, his chances. Because he hasn't, but he could just as easily write original work. You are trying to get published and get famous off of something anyway that began as someone else's idea. You're basically publishing fan fiction in its original fan fiction format without changing anything, and you're mad because the author is not finishing it. If you didn't know her, it was going to be the same thing if she didn't finish it. And it's really fucked up to hold her accountable for that. You could have written your own shit to begin with. That's lazy. And it's fucked up. And I didn't like that he put that pressure on her and then she just turned around and took it and made herself accountable for like basically the rest of his life. Excuse you. You don't do that. Not once did he, are you okay? You know, you had this panic attack, you hit your head, you got hurt. How are you? You know, how are you that your mom has basically shattered your anonymity and you already are anxious like this? And especially coming from a person who can't even fucking speak himself. He has to write her notes if more than a couple of people are around because he has his own trauma. He's just completely not understanding of her situation at all and actually getting pissed at her because she's having a hard time dealing. It made me so fucking angry. It ruined all of the good things his character had started in the whole beginning of the fucking book. It just made him into a total dick and it thoroughly pissed me off. So then she spends time basically torturing herself anyway to try and write this when she really doesn't feel like it. When her motivation's gone, she feels tortured. She even goes to see him after graduation and she tells him, you know, she apologizes to him for not being able to finish. Like she owes that to him and it's her work, her baby, her, you know, brainchild she's been working on religiously, weekly, for years. She's built up on her own. And she apologizes to him because she couldn't finish it. He didn't say anything. She told him, I miss you. He just, oh, you miss me. And then he, you know, she goes on, I want you to know I miss you. I don't want things to be like this. If you just want to be friends, or that's fine. But after the summer, we don't have to be in the same place anymore. We're both graduating. And he's like, I don't think you understand how angry I am. You lied, even after my email and then the writing stuff. I'm not sure how I'm going to pay for school. Get a lot of jobs, I guess. I'm going to be working most of the summer, so I don't think I can hang out. That is a bitch move. I really fucking hated that. I really hated that. Like, you basically are dependent on your girlfriend of a couple months to provide you with the opportunity to be able to pay for your own school. And then because she has her own mental struggles that she's dealing with, you just guilted the shit out of her for having her own shit to do and not being able to finish this. Oh, well, since I'm going to have to work to pay for school now, I can't hang out with you. Sorry, guess you should have finished those chapters. What the fuck? So, I mean, she's so distraught. Like, she starts having, like, suicidal ideations and actually goes to a place and is this close to just attempting. And the only reason she didn't is because she got so stressed out and anxious about it that she was like, well, hell, I'd have been less stressed out sitting at home. But this is always going to be here. I always have this option. I'll just do it later. And only then, you know, when he realizes he can't find her and everyone's calling around looking for her, and he sees her, like, basically in a position to drive her car off a cliff, even though she doesn't, but she's like contemplating, then he freaks the fuck out. Oh, now you're scared. You couldn't be a decent human being earlier, though. But now you're like, oh, I can't lose you the same way I lost my dad. Bitch. Fucking, ugh! For somebody that is judged by his stepfather for the choices that he's making and not being able to do what he wants to do, how and when he wants to do it, I don't appreciate that he turned around and he basically did that to Eliza, and she already was struggling. Having to basically have her shield of anonymity ripped away by a decision that was not hers, by parents who didn't understand, didn't even attempt to understand when they could have very easily looked it up. They basically told her, you know, here, get an accountant. If you want to turn this to a business, you're responsible on your own. They have no idea how successful it is, what she's been doing. They don't know that she's made enough money that basically she can live off of it and pay for her college at the same time. Like, they know nothing about it. They don't care to know about it. That's shitty of parents, I feel like. You can't tell me, you know, you don't know me, you want to spend more time together, when you basically everything of mine that I'm comfortable with and I like doing, you brush off and don't care to learn about it. So he knows about all of that. He's dealt with it himself. And then he turns around and just adds more on top of the plate. I really fucking hated the last quarter of this book. It ruined everything good in the beginning of the book. Everything. I can't, like, the selfishness It's one thing if this person didn't understand, but to have your own mental health struggles and trauma that make it difficult for you to be around people and talk to people, and to treat her like shit because she's dealing with that on a bigger level now because somebody else pushed her into the spotlight. Oh my god, that made me so angry. Like, and then even then, like, he goes to find her and she's sitting on the cliff in the car and he's so terrified he like rips the door open and pulls her out of the car and she's still fucking apologizing. Like, I'm sorry I couldn't do this, I'm sorry I didn't finish, I'm sorry I didn't tell you. And I'm like, I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. That just ruined the entire book for me. And then what does she do after that? She goes ahead and finishes the book, and I can't stand the way that plot just turned, and then that it took that dark turn, and all of a sudden now we're having to deal and cope with suicide, active suicidal ideations and attempts with no warning. And this story took such a turn for the left, and it was like, what the fuck just happened? Not only, if it was just that the plot had that crazy kind of a twist, it wouldn't be so bad, but that the plot had that twist and that the love interest all of a sudden magically turned into such a dick. It was 3-star read for me. It would have been about 4.5, but it got bumped down about 2.5 because of just that last quarter of the book fucking ruined it. That's all I got for today, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video.